You'd be shocked to learn how much the Disney live-action remakes rely on CGI to bring the worlds to life. The CGI is impressive, but seeing what the films look like without the finishing touches show just how creative the minds of the artists working on the projects are. Which film had only one actual live-action scene? What was the trick to achieving the realistic-looking wings in Maleficent?
Well.
Is there anything more exciting than watching Maleficent whip and soar through the sky effortlessly? While we saw the picture-perfect final product, the reality is, bringing this gravity-defying magic was anything but effortless. Let's break it down. Wires and large prongs to hold the performers up to start, add some stunt people in all blue to maneuver and manipulate the large prongs, and then it's time for CGI to do its magic. As we can see here, the outfit and all of her surroundings are CGI'd in and do an incredible job at really bringing the fantasy to life. While Angelina Jolie looks so poised and effortless performing, let's take a second to check out her unbelievable backup, all the blue bodies moving about. Now that is a group effort. So how about the wings? Notice those little Velcro stubs on their backs? Those are the marks for the giant CGI wings that were eventually added. Definitely more impressive. Some of the performers who wore the wings wore weighted backpacks built specifically for the performers that allow them to feel what the CGI wings would be depicting in terms of weight and size, allowing the flying to look incredibly realistic. This is pretty much as close to real wings as one can get.
Stop doing that.
When it comes to gravity-defying scenes, Disney has it all figured out. Remember the large prong-like tools used to help Maleficent fly? The same technology alongside wires was used in the Mulan film, providing the production with a whole host of exciting possibilities. For example, when they needed to be running up walls, all they had to do was rig up the performers, shoot the scenes, and then voila! CGI magic took care of the rest of the world that needed to be created. How about those bunnies hopping alongside Mulan as she runs through a field? In reality, Mulan was running solo, her CGI friends only being added afterwards. Same goes for this chicken. When it comes to the environments, we were shocked to see how much CGI contributed. From the large buildings or natural settings to all of the small details of the settings. Check out these epic scenes. Don't have any large sandy mountains? Oh, no problem. We've got CGI for that.
You smell bad.
So we all know that there was definitely CGI used to bring the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, since Dan Stevens is anything but a beast. We have to admit, we're pretty impressed with Emma Watson's acting. We never would have guessed this is what she would see acting opposite her. Stevens didn't just wear any motion capture suit, but a special poofy one built out to give the shape and structure of the beast. Stevens had double the work when it came to motion capture though. He was required to recreate his performances in a studio doing specifically facial motion capture for the editors to work with in the creation of the beast's face. How about these very animated inanimate object? Naturally, Lumiere was created with CGI. For the scenes where the magical characters of the palace were true to their actual size, puppets and animatronic creations were used in place and then edited after the fact with CGI, making them incredibly lifelike.
Why is that not a surprise?
I'm sorry?
It's no surprise this live-action flick had a lot of CGI contributed to the final cut. There is a magic carpet soaring through the sky after all. So how did they make it all happen? Well, the carpet in reality looks a bit more like a double mattress and is set on a platform that moves around for the actors to perform on. Get the right shot, add the CGI, and voila! Carpet magic. Now, Aladdin is very nimble and probably the original parkour star, there's no denying that. But luckily, he wasn't really jumping from precarious lava-surrounded pieces of rock. Though his moves in the studio are still really impressive. As for the genie, well, that's all CGI. No, really. Will Smith's blue genie was literally entirely CGI. He had to do a lot of motion capture, and on set he was pretty easy to spot in this highly detailed gray leotard. Not so magical as it is, but with the added visual effects, it's breathtaking.
Still blue?
Hollywood movie magic knows how to bring fantasy to the screen pretty expertly, and it shows in the live-action remake of Alice in Wonderland. Mia Wasikowska had her work cut out for her. She was the only real human in some scenes in the film. meaning she was performing opposite voice actors and both people on the set in green suits and separately marked eye lines. Not only that, but her entire fight scene with the Jabberwocky was performed on her own in the studio, with the rest of the magic added later. She pulls it off pretty flawlessly. Of course, it's not Alice in Wonderland without a bunch of size shifting. The amount in the film is extensive. Notice how they turned many of the characters into animations until blending everything into one world? Then, of course, the famous falling down the tunnel scene. The process to create this was anything but simple, and the results? Very impressive.
It's absolutely Alice. You're absolutely Alice. I'd know you anywhere.
What is Cinderella without a beautiful carriage? Unfortunately, Cinderella didn't really get to ride in the carriage. But the horses, those were real. We were shocked to learn that the entire palace setting was entirely computer generated. Talk about details. And speaking of details, how about these perfectly designed mice? You can see each strand of hair and every whisker. And of course, we needed to see a bit of bippity-boppity-boo. Thank you, CGI.
Yes.
The spirit of Christmas is definitely found in the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. This opening scene makes us feel like it's the holiday season, and guess what? From the snow to the cars, it's all CGI. One of the most interesting characters in the film was the Teacup Man. Look at how they used illustrations to create this fantastical image. And speaking of beautiful images, we can't get over this intricate set. However, without CGI, it's mostly an empty room aside from a few prop gears.
Are you ready?
Ready.
The live-action Lion King actually only had one true live-action shot. Since all the characters are animals, naturally they had to be created by CGI. Though the process to make them appear so realistic is impressively extensive, building out from a sketch and adding all the elements needed like muscles and fur.
Seriously?
While The Lion King featured a complete cast of CGI characters, Jungle Book had one human being acting opposite an ensemble of CGI creations. We were fascinated to see how they created the image of little Mowgli riding a tiger. The trick? 2 humans, hand stilts, some padding, and the color blue. Sometimes the equipment doesn't have to be so high-tech though. This film was an array of approaches, from puppets to stilts to shadows.
What are you doing so deep in the jungle?
Mary Poppins is the queen of making ordinary things extraordinary. And the film Mary Poppins Returns does the same. There is a blend of both cutting-edge CGI and old-fashioned cartoons. The difference between this huge dance sequence with and without CGI is mind-boggling. The film also paid special tribute to the original Mary Poppins film, with the addition of the beloved cartoon penguins, bringing those sweet characters back to life.
Can you imagine that?
It really is incredible to see how advanced and sophisticated the CGI technology used is, especially considering what CGI used to look like. We can't wait to see the creation of the new Cruella film. Now, while we're big fans of the realistic creations featured in the films, we'll also always have a soft spot for the Mary Poppins penguins.